the NYC Flight 13 package actually comes with not just the flight's data frame, but also data frames with information about the weather, airlines, that includes the names of every airline and not just the two-letter code for it, information on airports, and also information on planes. And all of those data frames are connected to each other through certain variables that we can use to compute the different joins. So for instance, the variables year, month, day, hour, and origin also appear in the flight data frame. On the other hand, airlines and flights could be connected through the carrier variable, and planes and flights could be connected through the tail number of the plane. So as usual, the first thing I'm going to do is just load the tidyverse and the NYC Flight 13 package so that we can use data frames of our interest. And this example actually is based on one example given in chapter 11 of the Programming Skills for Data Science textbook. So you can always go there to find more information if you wish. So first thing, let us check the number of rows and columns in the flight's data frame, and that can be easily done by using the dim function so that we can get how many observations and how many attributes we have. So that is, again, reminding us that we have a lot of observations, more than 300,000 flights that left New York City in the year 2013. And second of all, just to get familiar with what attributes do we have, I'll use the function called call names of flight so that we can observe the variables that we could potentially use. In addition, you can always take a look at your entire data frame by using the capital V view function in R. And if you type view of flights and run it, then RStudio is going to automatically open this nice representation of your data. You can actually filter this data immediately here if you want to quickly do an exploration of your data frame. Okay, so let's get started by doing some analyses. And the first analysis is to take a look at which airline has the highest number of delayed departures. Now, we could potentially just do this by simply filtering our data after a group application by the carrier, and then taking a look at which one has the maximum number of delay, let's say. So this problem actually cares about identifying the carrier that has the highest number of delayed flights. So that means that I'm actually just going to be focusing on any observations for which the departure delay was larger than 0. Remember that departure delay being a negative number just means that the flight left earlier than expected. So let's create a new data frame called has most delays. And that would be a data frame in which we take flights, we pipe the flight's data frame into the group by function, and we're going to group by carrier. And after we do that, I want to make sure that I can filter whenever the DEP delay is greater than 0. So that's going to give us all the flights per carrier that actually had a delay value, departure delay value. As usual, when you use group by, you also want to summarize. So let's summarize whenever we can take a look at flights that had some departure delay, and I just want to count them. And once I count the number of flights with a delay, I will be interested in finding the group with the largest number of flights that had a departure delay. So let's summarize by typing NUM delay. That's going to be our new variable, and we use the helper function called m parentheses with nothing in it. That's actually a function that is very helpful because it just allows us to count all the elements on a group. After we do that, let's try to pipe again into filter, and let's filter when our newly created variable num delay matches the maximum of num delay. So what this line right here is doing for us is telling us what is the highest number of flights with a departure delay in our data frame. Finally, if I want to actually just focus on the carrier, I'm just going to use the select function and only keep that variable. Okay, so if we do that and we run it, our has most delay actually has one observation. If you take a look at the top right region of your RStudio window and the environment tab, you see that has most delayed turns out to be one observation of one variable, and it's got the code UA. Many of you probably know that UA stands for United Airlines, but what if we didn't know? So instead of using the airline code, I can take my new data frame and do a left join with the airlines data frame so that I can find out what is the actual full name of this airline with the largest number of flights with a certain departure delay. So let's do that. I take my has most delays data frame that we just created, and I'll pipe that into a left join operation. Now we want to do a left join with the airlines data frame, and the key that we'll use for that is the one called carrier, because that's the variable that appears in both of these data frames. After we do that, I can pipe again and select the name of my airline with the most flights with a delay, and then after we do that, we can just print that and see what we get. So I'll print most delayed names, I'll put a $sign, and the variable that we're gonna get is also called name. So I'm just going to do most delayed name, $sign name, and once you run that, you'll see the full name for the airline with the largest number of flights with a departure delay in the year 2013, leaving from New York.